The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
I do apologize. We have so much going on, as you can imagine, this morning, and we have server issues again this morning, and that server is in Chicago. Without further ado, please say good morning and welcome to Denver, Colorado. Mike Volin is our guest. Where's Obama's birthcertificate.com is his website. Hey, Mike, good morning and welcome to the show, brother. Thank you for doing this.
And I want to thank you also for doing this also. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, my pleasure. Before we even begin, I want folks to know who you are and why you've joined the fight. And I get to ask this now as more and more people join the fray of just who is Barack Obama. And when I speak to the people that I respect and I ask that question, they so far universally have said, I don't know. And so let me, if we could, begin with yourself first. Tell the audience who you are and why you've entered the fight.
Okay, that was the question. Who is Barack Obama? My wife and I are just ordinary people. We're hardworking people, average Americans. And back in the 2008 era, when Barack Obama was running for office, all these questions started coming up. We never heard of them before. And a lot of questions were being asked, and there were no answers, or they just seemed like they were just passed off. And there was a lot of suspicion about who he was. You know, he was a senator for 186 days. His ties to the Jeremiah Wright, who we threw under the bus. And then they looked into his background, and then we started hearing all these different aliases. And then there was a rumor that he was born in Kenya, which we still don't know where he's born. And it just seemed very suspicious. And then the media was purposely covering up, and Obama himself, trying to cover up his identity. And as it went on, and as people started to join in the fight, and I think it was Philip Berg, one of the very first outspoken ones, we decided that the mainstream media was covering this up as usual, and we came up with a website, Where's Obama's birthcertificate.com. That was a repository of information. We created a stamp, Peter. We got that idea from the Where's George stamp. I don't know if you ever got a Where's George stamp on a dollar bill.
Absolutely.
That idea was to stamp everything in sight. We were desperate at the time to identify this gentleman that's going to have his hands on the nuclear weapons button. And we were stamping everything. People were buying stamps. We were stamping letters, currency, everything, and it really worked. And don't forget, Peter, at the beginning, nobody was with us that had a microphone or a camera in front of them. So all the information that was gathered was from Philip Berg, court cases challenging his identification, put him on the ballot. We wanted to see a birth certificate. The White House came out with 3 different versions of that original certificate of live birth. They were in a panic mode. And then we had Birth Report. I'd like to thank them. They were great. And we were sharing information back and forth. Volunteers, Peter, went to Hawaii, knocked on Kapolani Medical Center's door. That's where Obama's allegedly born. And they got no answers. They went to the Department of Health. And this went on for years. So we gathered every single shred of information and put it on my website. And we made no claim. We just said, here's the information. Look at it. And it went on. And the site moved on with the stamps. And I'd like to thank everybody for participating. And then the Sheriff Joe's investigation came out. And we were hopeful. There was an actual law enforcement investigation done by Lieutenant Mike Zullo, and I'd like to thank him. And we followed that. And we connected with Mike Zullo by I guess, a stroke of luck. And since the investigation started, I talked to Mike on almost a daily basis. Maybe not on a daily basis now because he's really busy, but we connected. I've met with him and I spoke to him in person. And what reason that we connected with him, he had problems with Congress. You know, what do you do, Peter, when you're in Phoenix and you put this information out? Does Sheriff Joe fly to Washington, D.C. with a set of handcuffs and try to arrest Obama? And Congress is the body that should be able to take care of the president and any crimes or anything he may commit to remove him from office. We come up with a sheriff's kit. And I asked Mike, and I didn't want to do anything against the sheriff's department. And we came up with a sheriff's kit. And what a sheriff's kit is, it's the investigation from the Maricopa County Sheriff's Department. It's the entire investigation. It's on my website. It includes a 57-page affidavit, all the video presentation at the news conference, including the reporters chastising Sheriff Joe at the news conference and asking stupid questions like, when's your book coming out, Mike? Our country was being stolen right in front of those reporters' eyes, and they had the audacity to ask them that. Well, Peter, that started it. People were downloading the kits. They're downloadable. I'm mailing them out on a daily basis. During last summer's congressional recess, they went to their congressmen. They made appointments. They knocked on their doors, and they gave the presentations to Congress. And after that, we decided, because we didn't get a lot of responses and movement in Congress, I guess they're scared and still haven't figured that out. We went to Congress. We bought 400 sheriff kits with us. We spent a couple of days there. We gave out, in Congress itself, Peter, 200 kits. Some were one-on-one presentations. Some we met with chief of staff. Some we just knocked on doors as we walked down the hallway, and we showed them. A lot of them were not aware of even who Sheriff Joe was. And there was some jaw-dropping moments there when they saw the video presentation, the sheriff claiming the birth certificate was a forgery, the investigative technique that was used. And to this day, Peter, the kits are flying out the door. We're still making contacts with Congress. It amazes me, Peter, that how scared they are to stand up and say, you know what, let me at least look into this, Mr. Vaughan. Let me get an investigative team on this. All they're worried about is re-election, and it's so sad to say that.
Now, where are we speaking to you from, Mike?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Okay, where in Pennsylvania?
I live in central Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is like a rectangle. If you throw a dot and it hits the middle of the state, that's where I am.
I grew up there, so I mean, I know what you're saying. It's a long state. And it's
I'm just south of Williamsport and just west of Wilkes-Barre.
I know right where you are. What I have been told many times by people who are in elected positions in Washington, D.C., and do with this as you may, everybody, this is their quote, and I don't know what everybody means, but everybody knows the story's not straight. Nobody will do anything about it. I mean, I've talked to senators, I've talked to Congress people, I've talked to some media types, I've talked to others who all say, we know the story's not straight. But why won't they, I mean, I think I have my own answer, but I think you may or may not know, better question, Joel Gilbert, the filmmaker who did Dreams from My Real Father. Joel has addressed the D.C. Press Club and has told them there's a Pulitzer Prize for anybody in this room if they want it, because he's principally addressing quote-unquote mainstream media representatives, investigators, and reporters. They all know. I mean, truly, they all know the story's not straight. The only people left alive, I think, in this country that believe the story is straight are these progressive, left-of-center, Kool-Aid drinking critics of this show and other shows, critics of people like yourself. But I think anybody with room temperature IQ, Mike, at this point realizes that Barack Obama's life story is suppressed and hidden. But the next question I have is, and the question you have, is why isn't there someone who is willing to step across the line and really report it on a national level?
I was going to ask you that exact question. I know you're a patriot. I've been on your show before. Mm-hmm. You invited me on with myself, and I asked you if it would be okay to bring Charles Kirshner on.
Everybody's welcome here.
From ProtectOurLiberty.org. Mm-hmm. He's a true patriot. There's actually a picture on my website of me and him in his congressman's office. I don't want to change the subject, but we gave him, Peter, almost a 2-hour briefing. We gave him information. We showed him the press conference. We showed him the selective service registration form. And we had Lieutenant Zullo give him a 45-minute telephone conference, and he released information, and not all the information is out there, Peter, that was confidential, that only those people in that room heard that day. And we followed up, and that's important. We follow up with our presentation. We just don't give it and run. And after 3 months, we finally got an answer, and his answer was, we believe he's an American. Well, when I got that answer, I happened to be in the halls of Congress. I went immediately to his office. They knew who I was. I met again with the chief of staff. And I said, ma'am, excuse me, what part of the presentation was the congressman not listening to? We never said he wasn't an American. We said there's forged documents. We don't know who he was.
Don't know who he is.
And that's the kind of, yeah, I know, unbelievable type of answer. I spoke about Kirshner. You know what the depths of we're going to? We're taking money out of our pocket. The Selective Service registration forgery that Obama purportedly registered in 1980, it's a total fabrication.
Well, no, there's no question. I mean, he uses an SSN from Connecticut. And here's my sense of this. And tell me, by the way, if you're just joining us, I have this idea that I'd like to do, and I don't know if I'll be able to do it. But in academia, they have symposiums. They have conferences. They do it in the medical world. They do it, I suspect, in technology fields. They do it, certainly history. They'll gather historians together to discuss an event. Could we conceivably, in Denver, because it's in the center of the country, and obviously because I live here and we have the radio show here, bring all of you guys together? There's probably now at this junction in time, 80 to 100 great investigators that I respect, and bring all of us here for a week or 3 days and discuss in panels and in the evidence that people have managed to squeak out, and present a symposium and maybe deliver a paper in the end of it that says this is the conclusions that we've arrived at with 150 or 100 or 80, whatever the number is, of really good people like yourself and Corsi, and you get on a list of guys, Cascio and Orly Tates, and I can give you the list. I'm sure you could give me the list as well, and Berman and all these guys, and say, here's the conclusions that we have arrived at this point in time, and I think it would be just a series of questions that would have no answers. But in the case of his draft registration, this is my belief, that he has a legitimate Social Security number that was issued to because he is being portrayed as a foreign national. He's being portrayed as whatever they're portraying him as to get scholarship deals, to get, whatever it is that he gets at Columbia, whatever he gets at Occidental, however he works his way through Punahou, his arrival at Yale, those kinds of things. And he's used that SSN that very well may have been got for him at 17 when we think he's working his first job at Baskin-Robbins in Honolulu. Having said that, I think when he gets politically active in Chicago and starts thinking, he makes a run, he gets beaten his first time he makes a run for an elected job, but they say to him, you don't have a draft registration. He never bothered to register for the draft because using this foreign SSN, this foreign-born national SSN, or whatever SSN he's really been issued, he realizes that the first 3 digits of that will blow back, and he'll be exposed for this story. So he gets this, and remember Toot is working with an ability in Hawaii to see Social Security numbers, Grandma, and I don't know if Grandma played a role in it. I don't know who played the role, but they gave him this SSN from Connecticut, and I think that he used it to forge or actually go to the draft board, but I think it's a forged card. And does that, Mike, does that make any sense to you as a theory?
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.